Ray Castle on GoaFreaksComTV.
This man standing inside the bushes of Banyan tree is true legend, the man who started all the Goa Trance scene, and he is the guy who brought the trance scene in Japan and brought trance scene around the world, and he's a legendary guy, Mr. Ray Castle, now in the jungles of Banyan tree, when many years ago was one of his best party and the most memorable party of Goa. Ray Castle, mate, we're really welcoming you on GoaFreaks.com. Good morning.
Good to be back in the cathedral of the Banyan tree, a holy shrine venue from the late 80s, and good to connect with the current Goa via XP and your communication facilitator dynamics. Yes, it's been a nostalgic journey being back in Goa. I've been away 17 years and a lot of stuff to process, but the magic's in the air and the cows are still walking around, and a lot of good friends here and new ones, and it's momentous year 2014.
Okay, so you are the guy who definitely can tell us and reveal us the secrets of history of Goa Trance scene, early Goa Trance scene. So maybe it would be great to listen some words about how it started and when was your first time here and the first parties in Goa and everything like that.
Yeah, I got into here '87. It was a very underground scene, and what I encountered, turned my lights on and the communality of the people. It was a kind of a rite of passage, sort of on the Philosopher's Stone journey. And there I was in South Anjuna, my first party, and got immersed in the new synthetic techno, electro, hybrid industrial music. This is like late 80s, an eclecticism, a real unique special Goa music that no one else could find except here in Goa, and it was only disseminated amongst the travellers and the music fanatics who came with C90 cassettes, and they'd sourced out the most maverick, unique, evocative electronica going on in the planet at that time, and we were making parties with it. And so yes, '87, my lights were turned on and I saw the face of God on South Anjuna Beach.
And how were the first parties? How do you remember them? The setup, people, I mean, especially that you came after 17 years, you see the difference. How were they?
Back then it was really a circle of friends making a party. The DJ was tucked away in a very small little table with palm fronds, little shack around them, obscure. There was black lights, sound systems, very expressive clothing like a masquerade, everybody acting out their mythological character on the dance floor. It was very low key. It would not be more than 300 people in a party, maximum 400 around this '87 period. Everybody seemed to know everybody else. It was like a big family. It wasn't tourists, it was travelers. These people had been coming together for many years, since the '70s, and they functioned like a family. There was more intimacy and a sense of privacy, no cameras. It was a sacred space. There was free psychedelics. There was generosity. There weren't people standing around with drinks and alcohol watching it all. Nobody was watching. Everybody was dancing. Nobody was standing with a drink in their hand. This was like a tribadelic subculture, lost tribe of the future. You know, this was vanguard. This was out there. This was not even a lonely planet. No internet, no cell phone. Had to go to Panjim to make one phone call. So you really got off the dial. You know, this was a really underground traveller scene which coagulated and developed this subculture which blossomed in the '90s.
So who is for you the guy who created this world? Maybe how it appears for you suddenly it became Goa Trance?
Well, it wasn't totally suddenly. Politics started getting really difficult in Goa in '91. The cops were keen to shut things down, and so it became a political thing where Goa was about to sort of take off. More people knew about it. It was on the grid, on the traveller grid, and more people were going back to Europe and talking about these parties. Everybody came here in '91, and then the cops shut everything down. And I had to run around trying to organise day parties, which was the first time we kind of did that. And in the end, they stopped all the parties, and subsequently, into the next part of the 90s, into 94, we had to go to Maharashtra to make the parties, get out of Goa. And that time, Goa was just about to really become a contagion on the planet, a diaspora of the creativity and subcultural parties here, and the music philosophy, then becoming a mass movement all over the world, and the birth of Goa Side Trance through labels in UK, Europe, Australia, Japan. This was a kind of a seed germinating, blossoming. The whole traveller subculture then spread across the planet and became a alternative society with festivals, and then people running around making labels for Goa specific music. So yeah, that was a crowning watershed. I think from 94 to 97 was the golden era of Goa Side Trance, with the most innovative music being made, fully inspired by the vibe here in Goa.
Okay, fantastic. Other question is, you are famous also as the guy who generally started Japanese trance scene by Equinox and all these parties. So maybe a few words about early Japanese parties and early Japanese trance scene.
Right, so one year I had 94, 95, I made a big album with Masayuki Kurihara. No, well, it started in 87, I was there. We made the first Goa parties in Nagano in the mountains. Was about 70 Goa Freaks, and did the whole thing, Sunrise, and then it all grew there, and Equinox came, that party organisation in the 80s, brought Total Eclipse, Juno, myself, Zavikal, this Daikor guy, he's right here now. That was a big movement, Equinox, in the Japan scene, and that grew all around. They have camping grounds there, and the locals really embraced the parties. And already there'd been a lot of Japanese in Goa.
It was middle 90s, yeah?
Pardon?
Middle of 90s.
Yeah, this was from late 80s through to the mid 90s. It became a strong movement, like everywhere, as I said, in Europe. We had the VOOV, you know, and then in Australia there was things starting up like Rainbow Serpent and new labels all over the place. So that was the peak coming into the mid 90s, but it came out of here 94, you know. And so the Japan thing, they really embraced it, and they made beautiful parties. Equinox was the first movement. There was a label called Tokyo Techno Tribes, and then after them came Solstice, and the vibe sort of changed again. There was other groups like Vision Quest. But anyway, yeah, and I've made 3 movies and 3 albums in Japan, had a deep relationship with it, and also I was involved with with the Australian scene. I made quite a few projects down there, including myself with Nick Taylor with Mystic, living in Byron Bay. And that was quite a cross-pollination. There was all kinds of people around, Ollie Wisdom, myself, Nick, and there was Beyond the Brain. We had Terence McKenna come there and do his thing. It was a great movement, and the whole outdoor Aussie thing got going.
We absolutely had the reason to film you here in this fantastic magic jungly place, even with the sounds of the bikes we're passing around. And maybe you explain why you brought us here.
This is a magical party space. As I mentioned before, it's like a cathedral. It's the grandest banyan tree around in this part of Goa. And I orchestrated a 3-day party here in 1988. That was a glorious year. It was a Venus-Jupiter conjunction. There was no limit to the amount of social, convivial, communality, fun that you could possibly imagine. So here we were having a non-stop party for 3 days around this banyan tree, and there's lots of other little ones there. Chai shops were camped out. People had their mats. It was a circle zone, 4 speakers around. And the dance floor was never empty in that 3 days. When people were a bit sort of shagged and needed to recharge, they'd get on the bikes and go home and have a shower, whatever, then come back and get back into dancing again. It was just unlimited. So you just imagine with the right music for 3 days non-stop. I'm talking about night and day non-stop. You know, and Eric was here, and he was like, you know,
spreading the things.
Spreading the, yeah, you know, spreading the goodness.
And now using our time machine, we just jump one decade in front, and we are in 2014, and Mr. Ray Castle is in 2014 in Goa. So anything you can tell us about this fantastic trip, time trip?
It's been shocking initially to embrace all the new buildings and the new modern updated tourist Goa. It's a lot of stuff's changed on the sort of surface level, but the spirit of the people, the Goans and their unique mindset and relationship with us, the Westerners, is rather special. And seeing lots and lots and lots of old friends has been very rapturous and melting. The nature's still glorious. The parties, well, I could say a lot about the parties. Might save that for the next question. But generally speaking, it's groovy to be back in Goa in this exotic ambience. Yeah, I've been missing it.
As you're having your 23rd birthday on 13, you're 23 years old, no? Become
23, yeah, I'm just a starter, just a beginner.
And your plan to celebrate it somehow?
Yeah, well, I always
date.
used to have my birthday party in Disco Valley. It's a bit of a sad condition, Disco Valley, right now. It's looking like it's like a post-Holocaust paradise. It's got trash there, it's smelling like dead animals. It's like rubble. It's really just sad, actually. But yes, we can't do that anymore. So I'm doing a birthday party at Ramdas, which is the 9 bar in Vagatur, an old mate of mine. So that's the best I can do, is to do it there for sunset until 10, and let's see what happens. Starting early, and I got my Japanese friends there with me, Masa and Yuta and Hamasei, and I will play a set there. And love to see you, and yeah, and then there's some other ones coming before I leave by the end of the month, so who knows in the current party turf what's possible, but great to be here and good to play here.
And using this moment and this chance from our side, we wish you a happy birthday, and we're sure that the party will be blessed. We come there, all of us, and thank you very much for this interview. We have heard a lot, and you are the star.
Yeah, thanks, and it's great to be rebirthing myself here in Goa with the solar return this week, and Bolly Nat.
Thank you very much, Ray Castle for GoaFreaks.com.